Part 21. Fantasy, I rely on my mobile phone to pretend to be the Emperor. Author, beside Ermaran. Chapter 201. The disappearance of the ancient emperor spread throughout the world. People from all walks of life speculated about what happened. Anita and others, who had been gone for 2 days, were also worried about Suju's safety, but they could not contact him. Sister, maybe this is a test given to us by the Emperor Guyur has an optimistic attitude and does not take this matter too much to heart. It's not that she is not worried about the safety of Huanggu Emperor, but she does not believe that in this world, anyone can assassinate Huanggu Emperor quietly. After listening to Guyur's words, Anita forced herself to calm down and focus on the matter at hand. Suju originally ordered a few of them to do things to integrate the current forces. This is easier said than done. Even people who have seen the majesty of the ancient emperor must think twice when their own vital interests are involved. In the past few days, the four sisters have been fighting with others. On the other side, Suju is staying in her vegetable garden here. We live a savage life of sunrise and sunset. Thank you for being used to it, otherwise you would really get into trouble. Suju looked at the setting sun and thought it was time to take a rest. 3 days passed by in a blink of an eye. Just when the world was talking about it, the video of the ancient emperor was updated. This dragon, this light, this breath, it's amazing. Still the familiar great emperor, woo woo woo. I declare that from today on, I am a big fan of the emperor. The number of likes has skyrocketed. As expected, the 70 billion fans are so powerful. Suju happily opened the system and took a look at the updates that took 3 days to see what was updated. Hello host, the content of this update is as follows. After many verifications by our company, your upgrade speed is terrifying. We will reward you with a magic weapon. Check it at the end of the announcement. Don't rush to download it before you finish reading it. For the sake of love, peace, glory, and justice in the world, I hope you will continue to maintain your good style and spread truth, goodness, and beauty to all worlds. The specific updates are as follows. The content of the magic weapons in the system store has been improved, and the names and introductions will be more in line with your temperament. Please read it carefully. However, just a few lines of text took up a whole page. Sujufi I read it as usual, then swiped down and clicked to receive the magic weapon. A golden light flashed, and the magic weapon sank into Sujufi's body. Name, Moral Saint Cloth. Defense, always 1 point higher than the attack received. Attack, 0. Effect, as long as I have no morals, no one can morally kidnap me. Is there something wrong? What the hell kind of introduction is this? Suju was so angry that she plucked at her body with both hands, trying to take off this improper armor. Once worn, it cannot be taken off. A line of words floated slowly from the sky. Was it because I had such a good temper before that you gave me such a hard time? Suju pointed at the sky and yelled. However, the system refused to give any response. With a belly full of anger, Suju opened the system mall. He swore that if the system mall continued to act like this, then he would not upgrade. I won't play anymore. Anyway, there are those shabby moral holy clothes to protect the body. Breaking the realm pill, it costs 1 point to purchase, and it can be upgraded from a quasi-god to a high god. Worry-free realm, bringing the caster into a fantasy world, giving spiritual rewards, which can increase the caster's joy points. Spend points, 2 points. The store has only updated 2 items, and the introduction is still flashy. A few points. Suju smacked his tongue. This system is getting more and more unruly. There is no bottom line or moral integrity at all. It is difficult for other people to reach the level of a quasi-god, but he is better. He can break through with just a few points. It really costs nothing. Great work. Suju happily clicked to buy. Your balance is insufficient. Are you playing with me? I have tens of billions of likes from my fans, but you tell me that my balance is insufficient. Suju exited the store, reopened her video, and confirmed the number of likes. All steps were correct, so why does it show insufficient balance? Could it be possible? Suju wailed and opened the way to obtain points. 3,000 weak water, I only drink 1 ladle. From now on, the way to obtain points will be changed to the destined person mode. As long as the host's video can be liked by the destined person, your points will increase. Otherwise, it is 0. Suju read the 4 lines of characters for a whole hour. He sat blankly on the big stone at the door and began to doubt his IQ. He knew all the words, but why couldn't he figure out the meaning? Destined person? What kind of person? Where did it come from? Destined person. You can give me a hint. If you give a hint, you will no longer be called a destined person, the system replies. I'll hum your grandma's legs. He was so angry that he could do anything. According to the memories of those who met the ancient emperor that day. I was just going out to chop firewood, and a fairy-like figure suddenly fell from the sky. He grabbed me and asked me if I wanted to play Wanja short videos. How could I, a country boy, have heard of Wanja and make a short video about it? I just said I don't want to play, but after hearing this, he disappeared on the spot. Is it this person? Yes, his temperament is different from that of ordinary people, and he can also fly in the clouds. How could I forget? Thank you. Suju asked tens of thousands of people in one day whether they wanted to play the Wanja short video, and if they did they like it? Fantasy, I rely on my mobile phone to pretend to be the emperor. Author, Beside Ermaran. Chapter 202. Suju was almost driven crazy by the system. He spent half a month without finding his destined person. I have met a few destined enemies. Just in time for Suju to vent his anger. I can't go on like this. My level has not improved for half a month. If things continue like this, once a stronger enemy appears, I will be someone else's punching bag. Suju sat by the river and forced herself to calm down and think about countermeasures. It would be great if I could get a magic weapon like Cave Heaven Paradise. At this time Suju looked at the calm river and murmured to herself. The system is unreliable, so you have to rely on yourself. Maybe people who are destined to be together really have to wait until they are destined to meet each other. Congratulations to the host for triggering the secret mission, The Wise Man by the River. A line of text suddenly popped up in the system, which startled Suju. He is now extremely adaptable to this convulsive system and will no longer complain easily. Tell me what the reward is. If it is something similar to the moral holy garment, I will let you know what it means to be non-toxic and non-husband. Suju said coldly. The reward is the refining god realm. From this name, Suju smelled something unusual. He reached out to take the reward, put it in the palm of his hand and looked at it carefully. Name, Refining God Realm. Effect, help the host to improve its realm, so that the host can smoothly spend the days without a destined person. Suju looked at this introduction and suddenly had an idea. What would happen if he combined the Time Spirit Pagoda with the God Refining Domain? As soon as he said it, Suju took out the Time Spirit Pagoda with a slight thought in his mind. The magic weapon refining process. He claims to be the second most talented person in the world, but no one dares to call him the first. In just a few moments, he successfully refined it. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a time-like arrow magic weapon. This treasure is refined from the Time Spirit Tower and the Refining God Realm. When the host enters it, he can advance to a greater realm every 7 days. Can I come out during these 7 days? What Suju cares about is this. Can't. Sure enough. But compared to the troublesome way to obtain the realm-breaking pill in the system store, Suju would rather stay in the fleeting time for 7 days than go around like a madman looking for the right person. After contacting Anita and others, Suju entered the time with peace of mind. When he came out 7 days later, he would be the body of a god. And the chess pieces he had arranged in advance were completing their task step by step. Everything was under Suju's control. During these 7 days, everyone it seems to have returned to the days when Suju didn't appear. There is no more sermons to improve his strength, and no more Suju's latest short videos to watch. When the ancient emperor truly calmed down, this continent of the world was like a pool of stagnant water. Feeling refreshed. The 7-day period has come, and Suju came out of the arrow of time. It was still the familiar scenery by the river, with the tops of willow trees hanging on the river. Occasionally, white ducks paddled past, and their dark eyes looked at Suju curiously. He closed his eyes, he raised his eyes and quietly felt the fluctuations of spiritual energy in his body. The spiritual sea was so vast that it was bottomless. Since the 70 billion fans were no longer the main source of points for Suju, the frequency of his short video updates plummeted, and only occasionally I remember logging in to take a look. There's something wrong with the number of fans. Suju only glanced at the interface and discovered the clue. According to the current population of Wanja, 70 billion is already the upper limit. How can it continue to rise? Where does this extra population come from? Suju puzzled. Suju simply put the phone back into his pocket and returned to his small vegetable garden. There was no one around him to chat with to relieve his boredom. Suju planned to find something serious to do while watering the water. If he had known, Anna would, after Ta and the others were sent away, he had lived such a leisurely life as the Supreme Emperor. He might as well keep one by his side to chat and relieve his boredom. Great Emperor, there is news about the assassin. The message from the Kyanggu Immortal Emperor suddenly popped up, with an excited tone, and a video was sent along with it. Suju didn't even have time to wipe his hands and clicked on the video. He was worried that he had nothing to do, so why not just operate on this little girl? Shoot the video. The person seemed to be in the late stage of Parkinson's disease. Her hands were shaking and the picture was shaky. Suju opened her eyes and looked carefully before she could see some clues. She didn't know where the girl had escaped. She was dressed in white clothes in tatters and reached to her waist. Her long hair was tied back casually, and she was biting a piece of wood in her mouth. She had a dagger in her right hand and was cutting something on her leg. When you, the great emperor, ordered us to hunt her down, people from all over the world also saw her face clearly through the video. For a while, everyone shouted for her to be beaten. A few days ago, someone discovered her traces outside the ghost city and reported it to the nearest sect, Wandu sect. To say that the 10,000 poison sect is not a fuel-efficient lamp, once they heard that this person had assassinated the emperor, they used all their strength to enter the ghost city and strangle her. She had no way to escape, so she got into a fight with the people from the Wandu sect, killing 7 or 8 people in a row before escaping in a hurry. On the way, she was hit by a poisonous scorpion palm from the leader of the Wandu section. The Eternal Immortal Emperor told Suju the whole story. It was really scary to say that this man was verbose. Suju almost fell asleep after listening to it. Stop talking nonsense and get straight to the point. Where was the video taken and whether anyone was caught? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I rely on my mobile phone to pretend to be the emperor. Author, Beside Ermaran. Chapter 203. Suju rushed to the ghost town. Ghost town, as its name suggests, is completely deserted. Most of the blue brick city wall fell down, and the remaining half was propped up in the grass. From time to time, insects and mice crawled over, and everything looked desolate. Suju insisted on catching the assassin alone and drove back the accompanying Kyanggu Immortal Emperor and Zhang Zhangqiao. Stepping on dead branches and leaves, Suju walked into the ghost town. Being surrounded and killed by everyone, she escaped and returned to the ghost town to hide. If it weren't for the disciples from the 10,000 poison sect who came to collect the body, they might not have discovered her. At that time, she was using a dagger to cut off the poisonous scorpion on her leg. Following the guidance, Suju found her easily. "Do not come." The girl was sleeping soundly. When she heard the movement at the door, she immediately stood up, holding a dagger in her hand, and stared at Suju warily. "What a joke, I won't come over until you ask me to," Suju laughed angrily, and moved to stand behind her. He knocked down the dagger, and then sealed her acupuncture points. "Go to sleep." Suju gently brushed her eyes with his right hand, and the girl's body fell softly into Suju's arms, and she fell asleep with steady breathing. It seems that she has been tired of avoiding pursuit recently, and she just started snoring softly after sleeping for a while. Suju, just when he heard the girl snoring, he was stunned for a moment and then smiled. Although the ghost town was dilapidated, in Suju's eyes, it was a natural paradise. With a wave of sleeves, it could revive the scene of its most glorious period. People were coming and going on the street, and vendors were shouting one after another. Occasionally, children were playing in the street, and their feather shuttlecocks fell on the cake stalls on the roadside. As soon as Lin Ji opened his eyes, he saw Suju's handsome face. "Woke up." Suju smiled broadly, revealing a row of big white teeth. Lin Ji slapped her backhand, but her wrist was held. "Do you care about me?" Suju raised the phone in his hand. It was Lin Ji's account. The videos he had watched recently were all about Suju. "You care so much about me and don't give me a like." "Executioner, bah." Lin Ji spat, not minding expressing his disgust towards Suju at all. "I would say that you people of the Protoss are quite strange. While you are invading, you also treat yourself as a victim," Suju said nonchalantly. He could transform a city at will, and naturally he could also build himself the most suitable mansion. Lin Ji was lying on the big bed, with flowers on the side. If he looked carefully, he saw that it was double-sided embroidery. Hanging by the bed, swinging in the wind. She didn't know what Suju's purpose was in putting her here. But she must have bad intentions. "I retreated from the pursuit of you in the 10,000 realms." Suju let go of Lin Ji, then left the bed and lay back on the recliner in a leisurely manner. "What do you want to do?" Lin Ji sat up and stared at Suju fiercely. Suju waved her hand. "I don't want to do anything, but I'm just too bored recently and want to find someone to relieve my boredom." "Ah!" Lin Ji sneered. "The mighty ancient emperor can be bored and look for someone to relieve his boredom. Where are your bunch of followers?" Her words successfully angered Suju. But she was not afraid of death. Suju held up her chin and looked at Lin Ji up and down curiously, as if thinking about how to deal with her. No one needed to remind Suju that Lin Ji hates her. Maybe she kept her life alive just to take revenge and kill Suju. Unfortunately, the difference in strength between the two was too great. "I was afraid that Lin Ji would not be able to achieve his wish in this life." "Do you want me to kill you so that you can die with your godlike trash?" Suju suddenly revealed Lin Ji's little thoughts. "You are not willing to die in anyone's hands, so you might as well die in my hands, lest you go down and see your old friend, and it will be easier to explain, right?" Suju's words were calm, but Lin Ji's heart felt like a knife stabbing her when she heard it. She thought of the river of blood. "You beast!" Lin Ji took action brazenly. "Eggplant." However, Suju seized the opportunity of Lin Ji rushing towards her, relieved her strength with one move, raised her mobile phone and took a picture. In the picture, Lin Ji kept the posture of rushing forward, while Suju had a smile on his face. He grabbed her hand. If everyone didn't know their identities, they would definitely say something about the young couple flirting. Suju quickly clicked to upload and set this photo as his cover page. You are shameless." Lin Ji naturally saw the photo. He panicked for a moment and raised his hand to grab the mobile phone Suju was holding. Yours is here. Suju took back her phone and handed Lin Ji's to her. But she didn't want to slip and like the video that Lin Ji had watched before. Congratulations to the host for getting likes from the destined people and earning 1 point. The system prompt suddenly sounded in his mind, and Suju froze on the spot. His destined person was Lin Ji, who wanted to take his life. This stunned Lin Ji made Lin Ji seize the opportunity, take back the phone, and punch him hard on Suju's chin. Suju was woken up. He originally planned to kill Lin Ji when he got tired of playing with her, but unexpectedly, something like this happened. Interesting. Suju had a gloomy face, with murderous intent in his eyes. The ghost city he transformed into fell apart under the fluctuation of his mood, turning into fragments and sinking into the ground. Fantasy, I rely on my mobile phone to pretend to be the emperor. Author, Beside Ermaran. Chapter 204. Lin Ji was taken back to his small vegetable garden by Suju, and the two stayed together day and night. Occasionally, Suju got up and uploaded a video of Lin Ji washing and cooking for him. My little life was very pleasant. But this peace was broken by Zhang Jiangqiao's Fidian. When did you discover that the divine realm had joined the 10,000 realms? Suju sat in a high position with a calm face, but his hands in his wide sleeves tightly grasped the faucet. If he hadn't been afraid that the people below would see the clues, he would have crushed the faucet. It was like crushing the faucet and rashly stepping into the world. Invaders from the divine realm are generally. Back to the emperor, I found it this morning. Zhang Jiangqiao took out a large map and spread it out for Suju to see. Originally, our 10,000 realms territory connects all realms, and each realm has records in it. Suju walked down and looked at the map attentively. The place where Wanja is located is already prone to wars. From time to time, high-ranking powerful people from the big world will come to plunder resources. In order to avoid unknown people, the seniors of Wanja have exhausted the efforts of generations have drawn this map of all realms. The map drawn by the immortal family is naturally different from ordinary things. The names of each realm are slightly shining with golden light. As long as the visitor's realm meets the requirements, he can view the information at will. It is also free of charge. The words are piled on top, it's messy and I don't know the point. You see, this place was originally blank, but today, the attendant responsible for guarding the map of all realms discovered that new place names appeared on it. Zhang Jiangqiao pointed it out to Suju. His fingers were trembling slightly, just because he had just fought with him a few days ago. He thought that after strangling the rebel, peace would temporarily return, but he didn't expect that in just a few months. See you again. Have you sent someone to investigate? Suju looked at it casually and didn't care about its geography. He just wanted to know whether the other party intended to invade again. Sent, nothing unusual for now, Zhang Jiangqiao replied. Continue to observe. Suju waved his hand, and the map of all realms was put into his sleeve. I will borrow the map for a few days to look through it, and then give it to you later. Zhang Jiangqiao said yes and asked Suju if he still needed relevant documents. No need. You guys should keep an eye on each other for the next few days. If there is any abnormal movement, you can directly strangle or imprison them. After I complete the map of the world, I can then leave. Are you going to retreat again? Zhang Jiangqiao looked troubled. Ever since Suju supported Zhang Jiangqiao to take the position of Lord of 10,000 sects, he has become increasingly busy and has less time to practice peacefully. Although Anita was secretly helping him, Zhang Jiangqiao was still somewhat powerless. He didn't want to mess up what Suju had told him, so he could only do his best. But when something big happens, his first reaction is to ask Suju for help. The eternal immortal emperor once advised Zhang Jiangqiao not to rely too much on Suju, but everything had just begun and he really couldn't make the decision alone. So when Suju said that he would be away in seclusion for a few days, Zhang Jiangqiao was the first person to feel uneasy. It's not really a retreat, it just requires quietness. If something big happens in your sect, you can send me a message. Suju could see through Zhang Jiangqiao's thoughts at a glance. Good, now that Suju took the initiative, Zhang Jiangqiao was no longer polite. The parliament continued for a while. Zhang Jiangqiao reported several things about riots in various places, and Suju gave solutions to them one by one. Coming out of the parliament hall, he went straight to the vegetable garden. As soon as he opened the map, he noticed something strange, but due to the presence of everyone, he couldn't check it carefully. For a person who has cultivated to his level, it is useless to practice hard every day. There is a chance. By chance, if you understand a deeper secret, you will have the opportunity to go further. Although Suju currently has time in his hands, but there is such an opportunity in front of him, he does not need to use it in vain. Maybe he can trigger some hidden tasks and get here's the magic weapon. Lin Zhaizhong was standing in the vegetable garden loosening the soil. When he noticed Suju's return, he didn't even look at him. We are considered roommates now, do we have to be so indifferent? Suju leaned against the door, looking at Lin Zhi's back with a smile. You should delete the uploaded videos and photos first. Lin Zhi carefully loosened the soil, as if this acre of vegetable garden was her own. It's not impossible to ask me to delete the photo, unless you swear a blood oath that whenever I post a video in the future, you will like it. How about it? Dream your big dreams. It turns out that Suju brought Lin Zhi here just for the sake of a destined person. Otherwise, according to Suju's character, he would have strangled Lin Zhi to death and dumped his body in the wilderness. He teased Lin Zhi a few words. Suju returned to the house, spread out the map, and hung it in the air. I don't know what method the predecessors used to collect all the breaths of the world into this map. Suju closed her eyes and carefully felt what was coming from the map. Breath. Congratulations to the host for getting a mountain and sea map. Please choose whether to upgrade. Just when Suju understood the mystery in the picture, the system suddenly appeared and asked. What will happen if I upgrade? Suju asked. If the mountain and sea map is upgraded, the host can travel to designated places through the mountain and sea map, and can also use the mountain and sea map to absorb spiritual energy from various places. The amount of absorption can also be upgraded. Fantasy, I rely on my mobile phone to pretend to be the emperor. Author, Beside Ermaran. Chapter 205. This sentence made Suju's mind active. If only the spiritual energy gathered in a piece of land, it wouldn't be enough to fill the gap between Suju's teeth. But, what if all the land in the world is added up? Spiritual energy hovers in the heaven and earth and is used by righteous practitioners. It can be said to be the basis of all martial arts. Without spiritual energy, no one can build a car out of thin air. People who are born with the talent for cultivation can draw chi into their bodies much faster. With Suju's current ability, if he sat down quietly to absorb the surrounding auras for cultivation, he would be like the eye of the storm in the center, and all the auras in the world would be in his chest and abdomen. But the aura of Yu Fangtiandi is always limited. Suju also thought about this issue after embarking on the path of spiritual practice. It's useless for him to practice fast, and it's empty talk if his spiritual energy cannot be replenished. Relying on the blessing of the system, he achieved what he has achieved today. But the disadvantage of time flies is too troublesome for the current Suju. The realm-breaking pills obtained through Lin Zhi's likes are rare. That day, Suju used Lin Zhi's phone to like the videos and learned that she was his destined one. He took her phone and liked her videos one by one. As a result, this behavior was considered cheating by the system and his points were cancelled. It's really strange that the system is the biggest cheating machine, yet it still despises others for cheating. Therefore, the mountain and river map can be said to be a timely help, which can solve Suju's urgent need. Select upgrade. Suju clicked to confirm. A golden light flashed, and the upgrade was completed. The appearance of the mountain and river map remained the same, but Suju could feel the spiritual energy gradually overflowing. He sat down cross-legged, put his hands on his legs, closed his eyes and fell into meditation. In an instant, the mountain and river map was as if swaying under the strong wind. Countless spiritual energy of heaven and earth entered Suju's body through the medium. Lin Ji also felt the changes in the world and looked up at the sky in confusion. Practitioners can usually see the direction of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. She was shocked when she saw it. Countless spiritual energies rushed into the wooden house where Suju was. Is he planning to use his strength to commit suicide? Lin Ji sneered, thinking that Sujutuo was so big that he dared to absorb such a huge amount of spiritual energy here. You must know that whether he is an immortal or a god, the amount of spiritual energy he can hold is always limited. Judging from the current amount of spiritual energy, Suju Bacheng had already died violently. But even if he died, it would be considered revenge. Lin Zhetu didn't let go anymore and simply sat on the big rock, waiting to hear Sujulin's screams before he died. All the worlds were aware of it. The aura decreased greatly when we arrived nearby, as if someone was sucking away the aura from heaven and earth. Something bad is happening. Zhang Zhangqiao, Kanggu Immortal Emperor and others have received reports from their subordinates. This matter is strange, I have to tell the ancient emperor. Zhang Zhangqiao slapped the table and stood up to go find Suju, but was stopped by the Kanggu Immortal Emperor who hurriedly arrived. The two looked at each other and knew why the other was here. According to my analysis, you are not in a hurry to report it. After listening to Zhang Zhangqiao's words, the Kanggu Immortal Emperor said, when the ancient emperor took away the map of the world, the aura of the world decreased sharply. Don't you think it's strange? Could it be that the ancient emperor was practicing? But the areas where he came to report were all over the world. How did he manage to get spiritual energy outside the world without practicing within it? Zhang Zhangqiao also thought about this possibility, but this was the only thing he couldn't figure out. Are you still using your previous thinking to measure the ancient emperor? Since he was born, what has been done according to your knowledge? The Kanggu Immortal Emperor sees more clearly than Zhang Zhangqiao. He admires the Huanggu Emperor in his heart so much that he will naturally think about everything about the Huanggu Emperor. After his analysis, the Kanggu Immortal Emperor discovered that the Huanggu Emperor is simply better than any cultivation he is familiar with. A genius must be powerful. Even the magic weapon in his hand has rarely been seen before. How else can he be said to be the ancient emperor? You are right. If the emperor is practicing, it is indeed wrong for me to rush to disturb him. After Zhang Zhangqiao thought about it, he thanked the Kanggu Immortal Emperor for coming to discuss the matter with him. Otherwise, he would have gone to the ancient emperor to solve the problem by himself. You and I work together, so naturally we should help each other, not to mention that you and I are still old acquaintances. The Eternal Immortal Emperor waved his hand and signaled to Zhang Zhangqiao that you are welcome. Suju practiced for half a night. It was not until the sky got slightly bright that he stopped temporarily. In the world, I don't know how many people stayed up all night, worrying about the fate of the world. Strange. It's a good thing Suju put away the map of mountains and rivers. After just a short period of practice, he felt that he had made great progress. When the time comes, he will be able to break through the realm in less than 7 days. He stretched out and walked out of the wooden house. Lin Ji was still sitting on the stone outside the door waiting for Suju. At first she persisted, but then as the night got darker and darker, she couldn't help but doze off. Until the sound of Suju opening the door startled her. Why are you okay? Lin Ji frowned and looked at Suju. If he hadn't fallen asleep just now and couldn't hold on, Lin Ji would have wanted to go into the wooden house and collect Suju's body in person. What, should I die suddenly in my cabin? Suju raised her eyebrows, looked at Lin Ji quite dissatisfied, and continued, you are really an immature white-eyed wolf. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I rely on my mobile phone to pretend to be the emperor. Author, Beside Ermaren. Chapter 206. What kind of monster are you? Lin Ji stood up and faced Suju and drew his sword. Suju crossed his arms and looked at Lin Ji with a joking look on his face. Why, you start attacking me personally if you can't explain it to me. Lin Ji was too lazy to engage in another verbal spat with him. He pointed a long sword at Suju's vitals and rushed towards him. Okay, let me practice with you. Just now, when Suju absorbed the spiritual energy, he had a slight understanding. However, he had not used it in actual combat, and he was a little worried that the effect would not be satisfactory. The result was good now. Lin Ji took the initiative to send it to the door. Suju escaped the first blow. Came to the position where Lin Ji was standing before, and with a flick of his hand, a branch flew into the air and became a sword in Suju's hand. This move is called following your heart. The wooden branch in Suju's hand was fragile. If it were thrown on the ground, Lin Ji could turn it into dust and return to the world with one kick. But when Suju held the wooden branch in his hand, it seemed to have infinite mysteries. Every time he picked it, it would turn into dust. The dials are all composed of rules. It seems that the meaning of its existence is to be used by Suju. Lin Ji asked herself, even if her master was alive, he could not do this. Immortals and gods are all beings who have understood the mysteries of heaven and earth. But this mystery is endless. If you are a mortal, you can't understand it. But they are different. To the people in the lower world, they are the world and the masters. But they still can't do it. They can put their hands on the ground. The wooden branch she picked up had such a mysterious aura. If Lin Ji saw this wooden branch in the God Clan sacrifice hall, she would only think that it was transformed by a magic weapon of a certain senior, but now Suju was standing in front of her. Picking up the wooden branch, Lin Ji started to fight against herself. Lin Ji's understanding of power was being shattered and recast step by step. From the first time Suju found herself, Lin Ji was ready to die, but Suju did not take her life. Instead, he brought her back to live together. Lin Ji couldn't figure it out and simply didn't want to. But now that Suju was so powerful, Lin Ji understood that she would never have the chance to kill Suju. The revenge of her tribe was destined to never be avenged. The fight between the two was over at the beginning, but Suju was too playful and refused to give Lin Ji a good blow. Instead, he played with her with the stick. Lin Ji gritted his teeth and refused to take the initiative. Admit defeat. After a while, it was daybreak. Zhang Jiangqiao's flying letter arrived on time. Suju knew what he was asking without looking. I was practicing last night and accidentally made a bit of a noise. Suju returned to the wooden house again and picked up the phone to reply to Zhang Jiangqiao. Zhang Jiangqiao's status was always typing. It took a long time before he sent it. Since it's the emperor who is practicing, then it's okay. Suju always felt that Zhang Jiangqiao was hiding something from him. If you have anything to say, just say it. Great Emperor, your cultivation is important, but most of this spiritual energy has been sucked away by you. Practitioners everywhere are going crazy, saying they can't live anymore. These words made Suju stunned for a long time. How could he forget this? Spiritual energy is the foundation of a cultivator. Now most of the spiritual energy in the world has been sucked away by him to improve his own realm, but there are many other practices in the world. Or, how will other people practice in the future? Is it possible that there will be a war over spiritual energy? Suju slapped his head and secretly yelled that it was bad. The recovery of spiritual energy is an extremely slow process, and he will not be able to use the mountain and river diagram to practice in a short period of time. He can only use time to break through. But others are not so lucky. Suju opened the Wanja network to see the latest news. As soon as he went up, countless private messages came through, and his screen went black. Shut down and restart. 90% of the letters asked about the reason for the sharp decrease in the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. There are also 10% of people asking for help, hoping that the ancient emperor will give another sermon to improve their realm. I haven't had any preaching duties lately, Suju hesitated. If he went there without a preaching mission, it would be a very uneconomical deal in his opinion, and when he was preaching, he would have to sit for 2 and 4 hours at a time. He really doesn't want to suffer this. In the past, there was no way to do system tasks. Forget it, let's just preach, even if it's an apology for sucking their aura. Suju was heartbroken and released information about the sermon. 3 days later, countless people were either at the scene or waiting in front of the screen, waiting for Suju's figure to appear. The appearance of the ancient emperor to preach was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. No. Many people have benefited a lot from Suju's previous sermons and have broken through at least a small level. This time Suju held another sermon. There were only a lot more people who came here than last time. Suju's voice sounded, countless avenues flowed out of his mouth and entrenched in the world. Suju, who was multitasking, unexpectedly discovered that after his words came out, they merged into the earth, slowly restoring the originally thin spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Oh my God, I'm actually a spiritual energy filter. The restored spiritual energy is purer than before and is more helpful to practitioners. Fantasy, I rely on my mobile phone to pretend to be the emperor. Author, beside Ermaran. Chapter 207. With the end of Suju's sermon, the spiritual energy in this area of heaven and earth has been restored. Aura is back. The ancient emperor is really powerful. I have improved 2 small realms this time. Everyone cheered and knelt down one after another to kowtow to Suju. The shouts echoed, and everyone respected Suju from the bottom of their hearts. Congratulations to the host for completing the achievement, he is sincerely convinced, and the reward is a heartwarming bell. Suju stretched out his hand, and an exquisite and small brass-colored bell appeared in his palm. He couldn't help but fiddle with it with his fingers, and the bell made several crisp sounds. Name, heartwarming bell. Effect, it can make the person who wants to leave change his mind. No matter how disgusted he is with you, when he hears the bell, he will let go of the past and be devoted to the user. What the hell is this? Suju was very dissatisfied with the role of the heartwarming bell. To put it bluntly, it was just a tool to win back a lover. He put the bell away, thinking that he would never use it in his life. After this sermon, the reputation of the ancient emperor it spread all over the world, and those who did not come to the scene felt regretful and left messages under the video asking when the next sermon would be. Suju returned to his small vegetable garden and continued to study the mountains and rivers in front of him. Currently, he is already a god. In the midterm, as long as time flies again, he can break through the gods and become a true god. However, he cannot go in now. Information came from the border of the world before, and someone from the god realm passed through the void and stepped into the realm of the world. At present, Zhangjiao, the reason has not yet been found out, but the people who entered the world of gods have also returned to the world of gods after being hunted, without leaving any clues. If Suju is in seclusion at this moment, and the world of gods attacks again, I am afraid it will be bigger than last time. The mountain and river map shows that the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, which was almost exhausted, was replenished and purified during Suju's lecture. With a sigh, Suju put away the mountain and river map and stepped out of the wooden house. Although the spiritual energy was replenished, but those quantities are only a drop in the ocean among all realms, let alone help Suju's realm improvement. I can't preach everywhere, can I? Suju frowned, and even looked at Linji. It took a lot of effort to turn everything around, but she is stuck here. The road to becoming a god is really difficult. Why aren't you dead yet? Linji was hoeing the ground and saw Suju standing at the door and said. Since she came to the vegetable garden, she has been particularly fond of farming. Every time Suju sees her, she is either farming or on the way to farm. Suju, I almost wonder if she was a farmer in her previous life. She faced the loess every day and turned her back to the sky. As a result, after reincarnation in this life, when she saw a vegetable field, she wanted to plant it. If she didn't plant it, she would feel uncomfortable all over. If I die, I will definitely pull you to support me, put you in my coffin, and hold you down for the rest of my life. Suju had a vicious tongue, and no one could resist it. He would say whatever hurtful things. I'm afraid this is the unscrupulousness brought about by his strength. When will you let me go? Lin Ji dropped the hoe in his hand and walked towards Suju angrily. If you swear a blood oath, I will let you go. Suju stood up straight, not afraid of Lin Ji taking action against her. Lin Ji had been locked up in the small vegetable garden by Suju for almost a month, and she had had enough. Although the vegetable garden was full of spiritual energy, which was conducive to cultivation, and she could see Suju every day. He could find a chance to assassinate him, but no matter how hard Lin Ji tried, he couldn't hurt Suju in the slightest. Even if he couldn't kill him, he still had to see Suju hanging in front of his eyes every day, which was really annoying. I can't swear a blood oath. Then just wait and be patient. Suju is not a good-tempered person, so she vetoed Lin Ji and made her give up. Lin Ji can be considered a beautiful woman, but she is a bit stubborn. If there was no deep hatred between the two, Suju would be quite happy to let it go. The beauty was by his side. It was a pity that Lin Ji could only think about how to kill Suju every day, which was really disturbing. The two of them were in a stalemate, and Lin Ji held back his anger, turned around and returned to the vegetable field, picked up the hoe and continued to hoe. Instead of being idle and bored every day, it is better to find something to do. Farming is what Lin Ji found for himself. Suju also planned to go out and find something to do for herself. Anyway, being idle is boring, and bickering with Lin Ji is getting more and more boring. She turned over those few words over and over again, and her ears were getting calloused. Arriving at Ki sect, Zhang Zhangqiao had just finished handling today's trivial matters. Emperor Huang, why are you here? Zhang Zhangqiao hurriedly stepped forward and followed Suju step by step. If you're bored, come out and walk around and don't worry about me. Suju looked around and asked curiously, where are the Anata people? Recently, strange demons have appeared in the west. Fairy Anata has led people there to kill the strange demons, but she has not returned yet, Zhang Zhangqiao replied. Strange monster? Why does it appear here? Doesn't it only operate in the demon world? Suju reacted quickly. Zhang Zhangqiao looked ugly. I don't know about this, it's just that it appeared strangely, and it attacked our sect in succession. Fairy Anata is also investigating this matter. I gonna go see. Suju asked Zhang Zhangqiao for the specific location and then left. Strange demons are creatures unique to the demon world and rarely leave the demon world to move around in other realms. Suju intuitively felt that the matter was not that simple. Fantasy, I rely on my mobile phone to pretend to be the emperor. Author, Beside Ermaran. Chapter 208. When Suju arrived, Anata was fighting fiercely with the strange demon. The strange demon is tall, nearly 3 meters tall. Wherever it goes, mucus flows on the ground, corroding the earth and preventing any grass from growing. Fairy Anata, be careful. As shouts spread, Anata was knocked to the ground by the strange demon and spat out a mouthful of blood. Suju hurried to Anata's side and reached out to heal her injuries. Roar, the strange demon rushed over, raised his big hand, and vowed to kill Suju and Anata together. Suju did not move, squatting on the spot, holding Anata in his arms. Rubbish. He moved his lips and teeth slightly and uttered 2 words contemptuously. Then golden light spread all over his body, and golden light penetrated the body of the strange demon and submerged into the ground behind him. The strange demon died instantly. Thank you, Anita looked at Suju lovingly, her cheeks slightly red. The surrounding soldiers cheered and shouted the name of the ancient emperor. What's going on? How could you lose to the strange demon? Suju helped Anita stand up and asked curiously. Anita has been by his side for so long, and she has already broken through her previous realm. If she meets the current Zhangjiao, how can she be defeated by the strange demon? I don't know, it seems that as long as I stand in front of it, my own realm will be suppressed, and I will be forced to fight with the same realm as it. Anita shook her head. The strength of the strange demon is only equivalent to that of a true immortal. If it encounters a strong practitioner, it will be killed with one blow. However, the strange demon that has left the demon world has greatly increased its strength, almost approaching the great Luo Jingxian. Anita's realm was also suppressed by the Luo Jingxian. During the fight between the two, Anita, who lacked actual combat experience, was unable to do what she wanted and was injured by a strange demon. You can lead your troops back first, and I'll investigate the rest. Suju watched Anita and the soldiers leave, and stayed behind. The body of the strange demon was scattered on the ground, the purple flesh was still smoking, and the wounds were all burnt. Suju knelt down and carefully looked at the body of the strange demon. When he stood next to the strange demon, he did not find that his own strength was suppressed, but Anita was suppressed. Is there a limit to the ability to suppress the opponent's strength? Suju is currently in the middle stage of God, followed by true God. He guessed, there is someone behind this strange demon, but who could that person be? What is the purpose of getting the strange demon out of the demon world? Suju decided to go to the demon world to investigate. Guyur, who is currently in the demon world, she heard when Suju was about to arrive. He immediately dropped all the trivial matters in his hands and rushed to the entrance of the demon realm to greet Suju. Great Emperor, Guyur ran forward and rushed into Suju's arms. What it looks like. Suju looked at Guyur in her arms and pretended to be angry. Guyur didn't take advantage of him, she just acted coquettishly. Great Emperor, you are so partial. You sent Anita to Chi-Hai sect, but you sent me instead. When I come to the devil world, it's hard to see you even once. Aren't I here? Snored. If you don't come, I will abandon the devil world and run back to find you. Having said this, Suju knew that Guyur would never leave things behind and run back. Her character seemed carefree, but in fact she was careful and responsible. Anita looked cold and cool on the outside, but in private she was soft-hearted and worried about others. People who think about themselves. The demon world is not suitable for Anita, but it is suitable for Guyur's character. Putting Anita in Chi-Hai sect will also make it easier for her to ask Suju for help. By the way, did you investigate what I sent you? The two of them were walking and chatting. Guyur took out a folder from her arms and handed it to Suju. This is what was reported from various places about the movements of strange demons in the country. There is no big problem. It's just that I found something myself, maybe helpful. Tell me the story. Suju opened the booklet and said. Strange demons are common creatures everywhere in the demon world. Among them, the strange demons who use demonic energy to practice will fight with each other, and the winner will become the boss of the strange demons in one territory. What you encounter should be a strange demon boss that can be cultivated, but these strange demons change frequently, making it difficult to investigate. Guyur continued. So I went to the nearest place to catch a strange demon and came back. After asking, it said that many strange demons disappeared in the east. It's just that people in the demon world don't care about the number of strange demons, so they didn't write it down in the book. Suju nodded. Guyur was indeed reliable in doing things, but he was able to investigate so much information in just half a day. It was really humiliating to leave her idle beside him. The two of them went to the strange demon territory in the east together. Suju was dressed in white and stood out in the demon world, while Guyur was dressed in a red and black dress. Her black hair was pinned back by a red coral hairpin. She looked a bit like someone from the demon world. "Emperor, why don't you change your clothes? The white ones are too eye-catching. The demon world has been in war all year round, and the land illuminated by the blood-red sky is dark. There are few plants on the land, and there are only a few dead trees standing on the cliffs, which are desolate." Suju's thoughts moved slightly, and the white clothes on his body turned into ancient colors. Yor was wearing black clothes that matched her skirt. She took Suju and walked to the cave of the strange demon. The strange demon usually does not wander on the ground, but stays in caves everywhere and only comes out when it needs to look for food. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I rely on my mobile phone to pretend to be the emperor. Author, Beside Ermaran. Chapter 209. These caves are often unfathomable, and Suju walked carefully in them. The smell is a bit unpleasant, please bear with it for a while, Great Emperor, we will be here soon. Guyur walked in front, holding a torch. The two of them didn't need torches for lighting, but they still lit torches habitually in the dark. After walking for about half an hour, Guyur stopped. "Extinguish the torch." "Arrive," she said softly, then bent down and formed a seal in her hands. A blue light suddenly appeared in the narrow corridor, and a low roar sounded in front of the two of them. Suju stood quietly behind Guyur, watching out for the surroundings. Beware of strange demons. Suddenly he took action. As the blue light disappeared, Guyur took a long breath and said, "I was just using the formation to call the strange demons around so that the emperor could ask questions." "Then why don't you use this trick at the exit to avoid walking for so long?" Suju was a little confused. "This formation has a distance limit. The Umo mountain cave is too deep and can only be used if you walk here. When I came here for the first time, I already tried it at the entrance of the cave." Guyur explained. The two of them were waiting on the spot. The strange demon Suju had seen before was tall, and the cave was only about 2 meters tall. How could the strange demon move around in it? Heavy footsteps sounded. What was coming was the strange demon. Demon. It put its hands on the ground and crawled in the cave passage on its hands and feet. The strange thing is that it made no sound. "Careful!" Suju shouted urgently, dragging Guyur to hide to the side. The sound of a sharp arrow piercing the air came, and it hit the place where the two of them were standing. "Hongyan, what do you mean?" Guyur shouted sharply and looked ahead angrily. "Lord Guyur, who is behind you?" "The ancient emperor." Guyur was so angry that her voice trembled. These strange monsters actually dared to hurt people. They have really suffered enough. Thinking of this, Guyur drew out the long sword from her waist and made a gesture to go forward and kill the strange monsters. "Do not impulse." Suju grabbed Guyur and pulled her behind her. "I've never heard of the great ancient emperor." The back of the creeping strange demon was close to the wall, making way for a way. A strange devil appeared, and he was the red flame in Guyur's mouth. The words of the low-level strange devil could not be spoken, but only the words of the high-level strange devil. "Slaves, serve them." Guyur worked hard to catch a high-level strange demon. It was he who told Guyur that the leader of the strange demon cave in the east was called Hongyan. Suju heard Hongyan say that, and he's not angry either. His name is mostly spread among monks. It's normal for the strange demons in the devil world to have never heard of it, just like ordinary people don't know Suju's name. "If there's anything we can talk about, there's no need to do anything," Suju said in a good temper. "The terrain here is narrow, and if you take action, it will definitely be beneficial to the strange monsters in the caves that live all year round. Suju can escape unscathed, but Guyur can't say that. And it's hard to say. If Suju kills them before asking what he wants to know, wouldn't it be a waste of time? Suju never makes uneconomical deals." "How do I know you didn't come with Guyur to take us away?" Han Jian said loudly. Suju was stunned for a moment. Don't worry, I have no ill intentions towards you, I just want to inquire about something. Sure enough, someone once came to capture the strange demon. And from what Hong Yan said, Suju could basically tell that that person was not even a little bit higher than the strange demon realm. Hong Yan calmed down, but no matter what Suju said, refusing to come out of the cave to talk to him. Then you lead the way and we go in. Suju took the initiative to enter the depths of the cave. No, this cave is unfathomable, and we know very little about it. What if something happens after entering? Gu Yuer was the first to refuse. The Huanggu Emperor is such a superior being, how could he enter the residence of the strange demon and be contaminated by the filthy air? I can't bear to let the child catch the wolf, Suju comforted Gu Yuer. Han Jian led the way, and the two of them followed behind. After entering the depths of the strange demon's cave, it suddenly became clear. The strange demon dug a hall here, with a high platform made of stone in the middle. Hong Yan sat on the floor. Suju stretched out his hand to call out two chairs and asked Gu Yuer to sit on his left-hand side. Hong Yan, I want to ask about the capture of the strange demon. Suju opened her mouth and went straight to the topic. Han Jian squinted her eyes and thought for a while, then said, first tell me why you want to investigate the disappearance of the strange demons. As far as I know, people in the demon world don't take us strange demons seriously. That's true. Although there are cultivators among the strange demons, they are cruel and suspicious by nature and do not obey the orders of the demon world. Over time, no one from the demon world wants to subdue the strange demons and take them under their command. They only think that they can talk. Animal. I have seen strange demons in the outside world. Suju told the story of his fight with the strange demon. Are you sure it's a demon? Hong Yan's intelligence is not low. He is now mentally enlightened and has the power of an immortal. I am sure. Suju nodded and grabbed it casually. The corpse of the beheaded alien demon appeared on the ground. Its purple skin was the same as that of the alien demon present. Hong Yan did not speak for a moment. Fantasy, I rely on my mobile phone to pretend to be the emperor. Author, Beside Ermaran. Chapter 210. The corpses of the same kind caused a commotion among the strange demons present. The corpse was so damaged that there was no way to find out which area the strange demon was captured from. Han Jian said, then reached out to call the guard and whispered a few instructions in his ear. I ordered that if there are any missing strange demons in the future, we will notify Mr. Gu Yuer. Speaking of this, it can be considered as the most benevolent thing. After leaving the strange demon cave, Suju planned to go back to the vegetable garden directly. Great Emperor, when will you come again? Gu Yuer grabbed Suju and was very reluctant to let go. Suju calculated with her fingers that Gu Yuer's birthday will be in 2 months. When it's your birthday, I will come over. Be good, if the devil world, if there is any change recently, please notify me in time. After leaving the devil world, Zhang Jiangqiao's message arrived. Great Emperor, the people from the God realm have caught him. Suju hurried to Ki sect again. In recent days, one thing happened after another. Suju was so busy that he really had no time to practice properly. He thought that by sending Anita and others out, he could have some leisure time. But he didn't want to get busier and busier. Suju planned to solve these few things, get into the arrow of time, become a true god and come out again. Where are the people in the god realm? As soon as they arrived at Ki sect, Suju asked. He's in jail, I'll bring him here right now. By the time the absconders from the god realm were brought up, Suju had already imagined thousands of possibilities in his mind. The worst one was that someone in the god realm used the world connecting stone. Thinking of what happened in Ender before, Suju had already thought about it. I'm 7 or 8 points ready. How did you enter the universe? Suju asked straight to the point. I didn't use any special methods. Our god realm was indeed not connected to the 10,000 realms before, but since Elder Ender used the realm connecting stone, we can come here. I don't understand why we are being hunted down as if we were fugitives. The absconder was confident. What he said was right as Suju guessed. Sure enough, Ender had opened up the connection between the God realm and the 10,000 realms. After that, the God realm was also a part of the 10,000 realms. When he heard what he said, Suju without warning, Zhang Zhangqiao immediately said as if facing a formidable enemy emperor, I think this is inappropriate. After we are connected to the God realm, we don't know what monsters will come down. If it's the same as last time, what should I do in other worlds? Don't worry, I have everything covered. As soon as Suju said these words, everyone present felt like they had received a reassurance. With the ancient emperor sitting in charge, even if the gods came out in full force, nothing could be done. The absconders from the gods were let go. Since the two realms are connected, that's it. There is no need to continue to detain him. Anyway, there will only be more people coming from the God realm in the future. On the other hand, the absconders brought what they saw and heard in Ki sect back to the God realm. Is everything okay, Emperor? Ender heard someone coming back from all realms and immediately asked. Reporting back to the elder, the ancient emperor is well. I see his expression and temperament, and his realm may have improved. Now I am afraid that he has reached the stage of a god or a true god. That's good. You must not spread the word about the connection between the divine world and all worlds everywhere, do you understand? Ender put his heart back in his stomach and warned. The villain knows. Since leaving the 10,000 realms, Ender has been thinking about it for a long time, whether to use a boundary stone to connect the two realms. After all, there are constant wars in the God realm all year round. The Savage tribe and the Zerg tribe are mortal enemies and they vow to fight to the death. If Ender can easily open the two realms, the war spreads to all realms, which may cause Suju to be dissatisfied and come to accuse Ender. However, now that the Zerg are suppressed by the barbarian tribe and are retreating steadily, Ender is relieved to open the two realms to facilitate his communication with his tribe. With the 10,000 realms. Moreover, being in the God clan and not being able to connect with the 10,000 realms also means that he cannot see the great emperor's glory. It is really a huge loss. I went to explore the world after Ender took care of the trivial matters. He went to Wanja in person. He couldn't wait to admire the ancient emperor. He heard that the emperor had just given a sermon a few days ago, but he didn't have the opportunity to be there. Ender felt very regretful in his heart. Fortunately, there was a sermon. The video of that time is left here for comfort. On the other side, on the Zerg battlefield, the Savage tribe has already arrived at the city, waiting for the final blow. If this succeeds, the war that has lasted for thousands of years will temporarily end with the victory of the Savage tribe. If the Zerg did not have tens of thousands of years to recover, there would be no possibility of counterattack. Great Elder, the barbarians have begun to attack the city. Do you need to leave now? The soldiers came to report. As an elder of my clan, if I run away now, what shame will I have to live on in this world? The Zerg chief vetoed the proposal of his subordinates. Since the Zerg did not defeat the barbarians under his leadership, he would not be a deserter in front of the battle and leave thousands of Zerg compatriots behind. The Zerg elder stood in the big tent. Only I feel a surge of enthusiasm in my heart, and the level that has not been progressed for a long time is slightly loosened at this moment. Am I going to break through? The Zerg elder secretly said in surprise. But now that the army is approaching the city, he has to sit quietly and break the situation. It is a blessing and a curse.